Everyone assumes a smaller home means giving something up. Less storage, less comfort, less of everything. But spend a week inside an ordinary Japanese apartment and that logic quietly falls apart because the place isn't cramped at all. It's edited. Every centimeter earns its keep, every fixture does two jobs, and somehow the whole thing feels calmer than a house twice the size. Most of these ideas are everyday and low-key, so take what fits your own place. But a couple of them genuinely rethink how a home should behave. And there's one near the end that turns a boring closet into the reason people never want to leave. Let's start at the front door, because in Japan it's practically a room of its own. The genkan is a sunken entry landing where shoes come off before you step up onto the main floor. Sounds minor. It isn't. That little drop in level draws a hard line between the outside world and your clean interior, so street grime, rain, and whatever you tracked across the city stays exactly where it belongs. No muddy hallway. No debate about house shoes. You walk in, you step down, you swap footwear, you step up. The whole ritual takes 3 seconds and it keeps the entire home noticeably cleaner. Foreigners who live with one for a while can't imagine going back. Then there's the bathroom, and this is where things get properly clever. In much of Japan, the whole room is the shower. The floor's waterproof, it slopes toward a central drain, and you sit on a little stool and rinse off completely before you ever touch the tub. Which means the bath itself stays clean, hot, and reusable. Here's the part that surprises people. The family often shares that same bath water across the evening, one after another, because everyone arrives already scrubbed. Add an insulated lid and the water holds its heat for hours. It's efficient, it's communal, and it treats a bath as a proper soak rather than a quick dunk. That tub deserves its own moment. Japanese soaking tubs, the ofuro, run deep and short instead of long and shallow, so you sit upright with the water right up at your shoulders. Some come with a reheat button wired to the boiler. Press it and the water climbs back to temperature without you draining a drop. Picture stepping in at the end of a long day, chin deep, the heat doing the work your Western tub never quite manages. It's a small footprint delivering a genuinely better soak. People who grow up with a stretched out bathtub suddenly realize they've been lying in lukewarm water their whole lives. Number 5 is the humble tatami room. Those tightly woven straw mats aren't just flooring. They're a soft, slightly springy surface you can sit on, sleep on, or flop across without a second thought. They smell faintly of fresh grass when they're new, they cushion your knees, and they set the room's whole scale, since traditional spaces are literally measured in mat counts. One tatami mat, a fixed size, becomes the unit for the entire home. It's a floor you actually want to touch. And after a few evenings sitting low around the table on one, hard Western flooring starts to feel oddly hostile underfoot. Now, storage. This is the 6th thing, and it's the quiet hero of the whole setup. The oshire is a deep built-in closet, usually split by a central shelf designed to swallow bedding whole. Come morning, you fold the futon, slide it in, close the doors, and your bedroom instantly becomes a living room. That's the trick most people miss. Rooms in Japan aren't locked to one purpose. The furniture disappears, so the space flexes. A studio that would feel claustrophobic in the West breathes easily here, because nothing sits out demanding floor all day. Smart storage isn't about owning less. It's about hiding what you're not using. Sliding doors do the rest of the heavy lifting. Instead of hinged doors that swing out and steal a whole arc of floor, Japanese homes lean on fusuma and shoji panels that glide sideways along a track. The fusuma are solid, for privacy. The shoji are wood lattice covered in translucent paper, and they let a soft, diffused daylight through while keeping the room private. Slide 2 rooms open and they merge. Slide them shut and you've got 2. That flexibility, 7th on our list, means the same square footage lives several different lives depending on the hour and who's over. 8th, and you'll want this the second you hear it. Heated toilet seats. Standard everywhere, even in modest apartments. No more that jolt of cold on a winter morning. The washlet takes it further with a built-in bidet, warm water, adjustable everything, often a drying function too. Some models lift the lid as you walk in. It sounds like luxury, and it's just normal. Tourists come home genuinely mourning the thing. Once you've had a warm seat and a proper clean on a freezing morning, the standard cold porcelain elsewhere feels almost primitive by comparison. Here's a tiny scenario for the 9th one. It's raining, you've got laundry, and there's no dryer, because dryers aren't standard. But look up. Your bathroom has a built-in ventilation unit that heats and circulates air, turning the whole room into a drying chamber. Hang the wet clothes on the bar, shut the door, flip it on. A few hours later, dry. That same unit also fights the mold that damp bathrooms love, which matters in a humid climate. A serious damp problem is always one to get a professional to look at, but as a first line of defense, this quiet little fan does a lot. The 10th feature is one you feel with your feet in winter. The kotatsu. It's a low table with a heating element underneath and a thick quilt draped over the edges, trapping the warmth. You slide your legs under, the blanket seals in the heat, and suddenly you're not paying to warm an entire drafty room, just the cozy pocket where your family actually is. People eat there, nap there, do homework there, and flatly refuse to move for hours. It's heating with a social gravity. Instead of blasting the whole house, you make one irresistible warm spot and everyone drifts toward it. Let's talk windows, because the 11th idea is deceptively practical. Many Japanese homes skip window screens fixed in place and instead run tight, sealed sliding windows with external shutters, called amado, that you pull across at night or before a storm. They cut noise, block heat, add security, and brace the glass against typhoon winds. Roll them back in the morning, and the light floods in. It's a layered approach to a window, treating it as something you actively adjust through the day rather than a fixed pane you just look through and forget about. If you're finding a few of these worth stealing, it's honestly the kind of channel this is, so a subscribe wouldn't hurt if you're enjoying the ride. Anyway, back to it, because the next one's a favorite. 12th up is the entry storage that pairs with that genkan. The getabako, a slim shoe cupboard built right by the door, keeps every pair off the floor and out of sight. No pile of sneakers tripping you as you come in. Some have a bench on top, a mirror above, a little tray for keys and umbrellas. It turns the messiest corner of most homes into the tidiest. And because shoes never travel past that point, the cupboard becomes the natural border of your clean zone. One piece of furniture, doing the work of a mudroom in a fraction of the space. Compact kitchens get a rethink too. Rather than sprawling counters, Japanese kitchens go vertical and modular, with slide-out pantries, magnetic wall strips, and a fish grill built right into the stove. That grill drawer, the 13th thing, sits below the burners and crisps fish or vegetables beautifully without heating a whole oven. Everything's within a single pivot of where you stand. It teaches a real lesson about kitchens. You don't need endless counter if every tool has a dedicated home and the whole thing's arranged around your actual reach, not around looking impressive in a photo. The 14th one is about air, and it matters more than it sounds. Japan's summers are humid and mold thrives on that, so homes are built to move air deliberately. Cross-ventilation is designed in, with openings placed to pull a breeze straight through, plus dehumidifying functions baked into the air conditioners. Some closets even get small vents or moisture absorbers to keep bedding from going musty. It's a whole climate strategy hiding inside an ordinary flat. And in a place where damp is a real recurring threat, designing the house to breathe on its own does more good than any gadget you plug in afterward. Number 15 brings us back to sleeping. The futon isn't the Western sofa bed thing. It's a proper padded mattress that lays straight on the tatami and folds away by day. Sleeping low has its own logic. Firm support, easy to air out in the sun, and it frees the entire room the moment you're up. No permanent bed frame dominating the space. And there's something to airing your bedding over a balcony rail in the morning light, letting the sun freshen it, that a fixed mattress just can't offer. It keeps the sleep space clean, flexible, and endlessly reconfigurable. The 16th feature is small but you'd miss it instantly. That mini sink perched on top of the toilet tank. As the tank refills, clean water runs out of a little tap so you can rinse your hands, and that same water then fills the cistern for the next flush. No waste, no separate basin eating floor space in a tiny room. It's the sort of loop that makes you wonder why it isn't everywhere. One fixture, two functions, zero extra plumbing. In a compact bathroom, that kind of doubling up is the entire philosophy in miniature. 17th, and this one's structural comfort. Japanese homes often use a raised floor with a crawl space beneath, lifting the living level off the cold ground and letting air circulate under the house. It keeps moisture down, guards against damp rising up, and gives that satisfying step up from the genkan real purpose. Combine it with good insulation and the floor simply feels warmer and drier underfoot. It's an old idea, centuries old really, but it solves a problem that plenty of modern slab-on-ground homes still quietly struggle with today. The 18th thing is a philosophy as much as a feature. Multi-purpose rooms. Because of sliding doors, fold-away bedding, and low flexible furniture, a single Japanese room genuinely becomes a bedroom, a dining room, a study, and a lounge across one day. Nothing's nailed to a single use. That's how modest floor plans feel spacious. They're never storing a function they don't currently need. Western homes often dedicate a whole room to a bed that sits empty 16 hours a day. Here, the room resets. And once you've lived with that kind of flexibility, fixed single-use rooms start to feel almost wasteful. 19th. And here's that closet payoff I teased. Take the oshier, add a curtain, a cushion, a little shelf and a reading light, and people turn that deep bedding cupboard into a tiny private nook. Kids claim them as forts. Adults make them reading cocoons. It's the walk-in closet dream shrunk to its coziest possible form, a pocket of space that's entirely yours inside an open plan. The genius is that the storage was already there. You're just recognizing that a warm, enclosed, human-sized space is worth more than another shelf of stuff you'd forget you owned. Which brings us to the last one, the underfloor heating. Radiant panels beneath the flooring warm the room from the ground up, evenly, silently. No rattling radiators or blasting vents drying out the air. Your feet meet warmth the moment you step down, and heat that starts at floor level is exactly how a body wants to receive it. Paired with a raised, insulated floor and a soaked-in warmth kotatsu nearby, winter indoors becomes something you actually look forward to. It's the quiet finale to a home that, top to bottom, is built around how it feels to simply be inside it. So think back to that assumption we started with, that small means less. Almost none of these features are about size. They're about intention, one small, well-judged choice stacked on the next until the whole home just works. A step at the door. A tub that reheats. A closet that becomes a bedroom, then a hideaway. And where damp or mold ever gets serious, that's still one to hand to a pro. But the through line is simple and kind of beautiful. Design a space around real life, and it gives back far more than its footprint should ever allow.